Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If there's one item that separates, from your usual setup, keys, wallet, cell phone, that would be the pocket knife. And it's just one piece of, an everyday carry that I can't live without. And when I say everyday carry, obviously that doesn't mean airports, the workplace, schools, but there's a lot of circumstances and activities outside those where it is handy to have something on you, whether you're out and about doing outdoor activities, at the house. There's just so many situations that we can get into of why I think it is important to have a knife on you. And for a future video, I think it'd be interesting to go into just everyday carry in general. Some items that people find useful to have on themselves, what I've had success with lights, other gear in the past. But yeah, today just focusing on what is this, the Benchmade Mini Bugout. They have a larger version of this just called the Bugout. I'd say it's one of the more popular knives in recent history, and we can get into that as well, along with maybe some of the other knives I've had in kind of the evolution of my carry. Putting that aside, I did for maybe a couple years carry a Leatherman. They're a big name in the knife market and obviously great for multi-tools. Blades are good. They got their usual, S30V steel. But yeah, you guys are familiar with these. You unfold them, you get the giant pliers and all the tools that are within the handles. And I love this. This piece comes in handy an awful lot. The needle nose pliers is great. It's got a small enough tip where, if you want to get a sliver out or something fine and extra detailed or small, you can do that. Not to mention you have your wire cutters and, enough surface where you can grab onto just about anything that you need to, whether it's a nut or whatever the case may be. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to use this, or like with the nut example, you don't want to strip off the edges, but in an emergency or in a pinch, this would certainly do. They come with the knife, as I said, the file, which you never think that these things would come in handy or that you need them, but I've found many uses for these. For shaving something down, there's a fine grit and a rougher coarse side. For example, there's a dam, an air dam that's inside my chainsaw, and you flip it based on what season it is. For cool or hot temps, there's a dam in the back where you take the engine cover off, and it'll actually change the air that's flowing over the engine based on the climate to make the saw run more efficiently. And I remember flipping that on my model for the first time because I think I was doing some cutting in winter, and the piece of plastic would not fit in that engine bay the right way. There's just a little piece of plastic that was hanging up. I had this on me. I filed it down, and it fit in like a glove. And it's just like, wow, one genius small use to have this thing on me that you wouldn't foresee. But when you're already out in the woods and you have this on you, it's like, wow, that really came in handy. It's got your typical pocket clip. And I'll say with the inside tools, for example, if you were taking out the scissors, it locks in place so you can use it safely. And then you have this button in the back so you can fold it back in. It's the same with the screwdrivers in here. One thing I'll say about these, the tools can get very stiff, and there's just a little spot in there for you to get a nail to lift out some of these hard screwdrivers, and I can't even do that right now, especially with just cutting my nails. The bottle opener on this side is a little bit easier, but they all click into place, very heavy duty, and you can push this button to put that away. What's nice is you can also use that to get the clip out. Let's see if I can do this here. So you can do that, and you can actually move the clips to different sides, depending on how you use it. And that should click in there. Yeah, nice and easy. So when you have it closed, and I have it clipped in my pocket. I always knew exactly which one was the blade. And even with this little, cutout here, it was enough to get your thumb, so you always could do a one-handed operation. So I appreciated that. But yeah, that's a knife in a nutshell, and I'm not going to spend too much more time talking about it, but a very useful piece. What stopped me from using it was the weight. This is a very heavy knife. Over the years, they did other versions. So I don't know if I got this in 2012, 14, but they actually make titanium versions now, which are even lighter and probably stronger. But a great knife. I'll take this out on occasion, like if I'm going fishing and I know I need extra tools, whether it's between the scissors, files, knife, and I don't mind temporarily having a little bit heavier of a knife on me. But yeah, there's still a time and place for this. But I know that I'm going to be going in to the elements that necessitate a few more options on my blade. But it is interesting going from a piece that has so many tools down to something that has a single blade. But I didn't jump right to this, so putting that aside, I did use this Kershaw for the longest time. So this is the Emerson CQC 5K, and I don't know what half of that stuff means, but yeah, it's got that OD green, nice texture, and I carried this for about 6 years. Which is the longest I've ever carried a knife. And I actually got this for a gift for my brother-in-law, or soon-to-be, and a couple other people, because I love the knife so much. I did a lot of research on it, and I just like the size. Very nice, solid click when you put that blade back with the liner lock, which I actually like better than the Axis in some regards. Not all of them, which I'll get into a little bit, but just very solid. When I'd flick it out, it just, it's got that authoritative lock, and then you just push that bar on the inside to close it. First time I ever had a thumb screw, or this little knob, knurled steel right there to open a knife, which is nice. It's, it's one-handed, very easy, but a very heavy-duty knife. It's got the black anodized steel, or whatever you call it. It's got that coating on there, which doesn't matter much to me. It gets a little scraped up over time and loses some of its black luster, but that's fine. A really cool thing about this, though, is this little hook here. I don't know if you can see that, but that is actually made to open the blade with 0 hands. So basically, if this is clipped in your jeans, as you pull it out, you kind of pull this against the pocket, and it'll hook and take the blade out in one swoop, one motion. You never have to, take it out of your jeans, then open the blade with a finger, or use 2 hands, especially on, other types of knives. But you can actually just take this out and hook this onto your jeans, and it'll take the blade right out. Really nice for when you want to get to the blade very fast. If you have gloves on and you don't have the same dexterity, that is a really handy feature, which I loved about this knife. But over time, especially in the summer, this just didn't carry very well. I think this is close to 4 ounces, and it's heavy. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but especially when you have lighter, summer shorts on, you feel it. It sags, and I didn't like that with the knife. So, that brought me to the Mini Bugout. This is about 1.5 ounces, which is insane for a knife. I don't know if they make any other knife this size with this capability in that light of a package. Minus your little, travel knives, or the free one you get with your hunting license back in the day from Fleet Farm. For you, though, those of you who live in Wisconsin and know what Fleet Farm is. But, what makes this so light is, it's got these plastic handles. And I forgot, Benchmade has some term for the type of material that's used in here. But, yeah, it's a type of plastic. And in this design, there's no metal liners within there. They have it structured in a way where there's some ribs in there. See if you can see that. That's a little hard, but there's ribbing in there, And you got these different braces and whatever within the blade and the knife itself that really give this a lot of integrity. Where this one, you got thick metal braces within the plastic outside. So you can see this, it's kind of hard because it's a black on green, but there's metal all the way along on both sides, which this feels like a brick. You can't bend it. It feels like one piece. This one, little, if I squeeze really hard, I can get this to cave in a little in the middle. But if you get over that, it doesn't bother me. What matters is that there's not a lot of play in the blade, and there's not. I'd say this is pretty typical for a pocket knife, and when you're cutting, you don't really feel that flex. But, you're giving up some things for the benefit of others, and again, that's 1.5 ounces weight. So this has the axis lock. So when you push the thumb stud right here, this is called the axis lock, and that'll slide into place to lock this blade so it cannot move. Really good design. It's ambidextrous. So you can use the thumb stud on either side, and then you have that locking mechanism. One thing I like with this knife compared to this one with the liner lock, so let's say you open it, you have to put your thumb on the inside and move this little lever to the side to be able to close this blade. So that requires your thumb being on the inside, pushing it to the side, and then using your other finger to get this blade closed. Now I'd say, 99 times out of 100, no problem. But I have had the issue where I'm closing it, I don't get my thumb out of the way in time, and I don't think, I'm not in risk of cutting open my finger, but it hits your nail and it kind of digs in there. And I have hooked my nail a few times closing this just because I'm trying to go maybe too fast. So I don't like that design where, at the axis lock, I'm using 2 fingers on either side and pushing it from behind, and I never have a finger in the way. With this one, unlike other knives like my Kershaw, with a smaller blade, you don't have all that weight. And so, with this one, it's very easy for me to flick open, and flick shut this one. And doesn't really have as much weight to be able to close it in a snap. If I'm out and about, I could probably snap it a little bit better, or oil this up a little so there's less friction. But it just doesn't have that weight to flick it in and out, like a lot of other larger knives, which is fine. This is very easy for me to get open and closed one-handed pretty quickly in a safe manner. It's not like I'm using it all day, throughout the day, but not every hour, so it's not a big deal. But as long as I can do it in a safe manner, and it's rock solid, this blade doesn't go back and forth with that axis lock on there. So just a really nice design. Speaking about other design considerations, it's got the high carry clip, so it's at the very end, which I love. So I'll put this on one of those inside pockets on your jeans or cargo shorts or regular shorts, whatever the case may be. But it hides the knife. This one, I do not like the design, because once this is in your jeans, you always have this big hump at the top, and it's relatively thick too, sticking out of your pants. Even on the Leatherman, they kept it nice and high so this thing could sink down. It's a little longer, so I know in guys' jeans, on your right side you have that little pocket that's within your bigger right pocket. Usually most pairs of Levi's or whatever, this could fit fully in and still activate that whole clip, so it's really retained within that pocket. This one would fit in a pocket as well, but again, you're going to have this part sticking up. This guy with the Benchmade, you can fit the whole knife in that pocket, get the full use of that clip, and nothing was really sticking out at the top, which I really appreciate. So the high carry clip is a big thing in my opinion. You don't need a clip. Some people just like keeping it in their pocket. I think that's a secure way to do it too. Just depends your use case. One of my first knives, this was actually from my uncle in my early scouting days. There is no clip. It has this little ring for a lanyard, but no way to really carry it. Same with this one that I got from my grandfather many years ago. It's one of those 3-blade knives that, one gets dull, you move on to the next blade. Maybe you said, I'm going to whittle something with one and cut apples with another. I don't know. This seems like a knife that all granddads had in the day, right? But I won't even use it or sharpen it. I just keep it the way it is. There's still some rust on the blades. Just, it's more sentimental value. So I like keeping that one, along with this one, which was my first knife I ever had, and I used throughout scouts. But just very typical. I got a can opener, blade. I'm missing the tweezers. That was probably the best part, because these were so good for getting the slivers out when you're in the woods, and the toothpick, which I don't think I would ever use. But it was a good start. And again, these all serve their purpose, and I don't know if I'll use the Kershaw as much, but maybe in a backup bag. But I love this knife. I will say with the pocket clip, you got to be careful. For people who know me, I am pretty OCD around things. Make sure I'm not doing damage. I don't want scratches in my truck or kids to mishandle something expensive of mine, because I try to take care of things best I can. But for example, when you have shorts and a t-shirt on, there's chances that this clip can get exposed. So if you're getting in your truck, I have had this hit the paint once or twice in my life, which is not ideal. So you got to be careful with that. There's been a time or two where this may be hooked on the edge of a screen door or a jacket. It's rare, but it's just something you got to be mindful of. That could be one reason why you just want to maybe go without a clip and just deep carry it in your pocket. But it's all preference. But I do like that extra security of having that there, and pulling it out of the pocket. I always know it's in the same position. I know how I'm gonna instantly go to my thumb to open it. So it's nice always, taking it out of your pocket the same way, versus just, kind of floating in your pocket with your keys and you don't know if it's upside down and left or right. But I'll let the point go. The scales are textured great. No issues with grip, on any way that you may handle a knife. I will say, as far as the color, I love the orange color. I don't know if it's just me, but and I know that's not what maybe truly matters, but I just find a little pop in color a little less threatening, especially if someone else sees you with a knife. Maybe black knife, typical. I don't know, I think it gives some people weird vibes, right? This jumps to me as more of a tool, an accessory, something that a camper or outdoorsman would carry. I don't know. I guess it's all preference and opinion, but to me, it just feels a little bit more like, this is just a tool that's intended for tool purposes. And, we can all have our own thoughts on that. I will say with the orange, I love it because I can always find this instantly. Especially, if I'm in the woods and I drop this, it's going to be a lot easier to find this than black blade with OD green handles. That is tough to see. Too concealable, in my opinion. Where this one, it could be on my nightstand far away, in the garage, on a shelf, because I just used it, and it pops out to me instantly. And, this is something I don't want to lose, because, I think this retails for around $160, and I don't feel like buying these over and over again, but B, I want to make sure I see it and that it's out of the reach of my children, and when I need it, that it's there. So I love the orange color. I have the same philosophy with a lot of things that I've bought in recent history of my life, whether it's lights, jackets. I want to be able to find what's mine, not confuse it with other people's jackets or items. It's just, there's things that you need to locate on a very frequent basis, and it's just nice when that it's got maybe a little bit more of an unusual color compared to some other things. What else can I tell you? So yeah, I guess as far as the lightness, this, when it is in pants or shorts, I do not know it is there. It is so light, which I love. It just disappears. I don't want it to impede my life. I don't want to, sit down in a chair and feel something digging into me. I want to be able to run around and not be sagged down, by something like this. And yeah, this, if someone threw it at you, it wouldn't hurt, and I'm not suggesting you ever throw a knife at someone, especially not with a blade out. But I mean, this thing is so light. I love it. Anything with the bend, what I can get over. This thing, I know it will not break. It will not break no matter what I do. It's got a drop point blade. So, you can do, some sorts of prying with it. I'm not worried about the tip breaking off. It's got a pretty solid backbone on here, but I do love the shape of this blade. In a pinch, when a nail's stuck in some wood, I can use the edge and get it out. Use this to get a sliver. So it's delicate enough for those types of tasks, but strong enough, for prying, paint cans, stuff like that, which is awesome. And, obviously you don't want to go too hard on the tip because you don't want to break it. But yeah, as far as prying, wedging, cutting, and it doesn't matter if it's wood, food, this does it all. I've cut apples with this, not a problem at all with food prep as well. So it, kind of does everything when you need a blade on the spot, which I love. It's funny, I have a story, just about having a knife on you. So again, people had asked, why do you have a knife on you? So the very basic, I don't know about you guys, but my life kind of all revolves around Amazon packages. So, being able to have a blade on you, whether, they drop something off at the front door, the back door, whether you bring it back inside, just take your knife, go through it, cut all that tape. That is handy. I don't always want to go with a kitchen knife. If I do that, it just feels like now I have to clean it, especially, with viruses floating in the air and this and that. I don't want to put that back in the drawer. A lot of people reach for scissors, but, that's often awkward trying to cut tape. Even if you fold it, kind of outwards and run that blade, it doesn't work that good. And I know a lot of people aren't maybe comfortable, my wife included, with handling these knives, but you get used to, how you hover your fingers around the blade, cut through so you don't go too deep, and cut the contents, but it's just so much easier to rip through this. Recycling night, when you're breaking down a bunch of boxes outside, awesome to have a knife. Food, again, when you're out and about with the kids, awesome to have a knife. The story I was kind of alluding to before, I recently bought a kayak at a store not too far away from where we live. And they had it on the showroom floor all wrapped in plastic. And the girl that was helping me, she took out her pocket knife and started cutting at one end. And this is around a 12-foot kayak. And there was a lot of plastic on there. And so she started cutting away, and I'm like, well, heck, I'm not gonna just watch her. I'm gonna help. So I took out my knife, and I'm at the other end, getting all the tape, plastic off, which sped it up considerably. And a funny point, she looks over and said, "Hey, is that the Bugout Mini?" I said, "Yes. How did you know?" And she's like, "Yep, yeah, we carry that knife. It's really popular." But it cracked me up because literally we're 12 feet away from each other. She takes one glance, and in about 3 seconds says, "Yep. That's a Bugout Mini." That's so funny. I didn't know they were that well known, but I definitely know that in the EDC scene, this is, a very popular knife. Another thing, just looking at it too, I love how open it is through the middle. So, if you gotta clean it, put your lips on there like harmonica, blow right out, and everything disappears. It doesn't carry a lot of pocket lint and debris, wood shaving, stuff like that. Very easy to clean, which I appreciate. This is going to take a lot more care to open up all the nooks and crannies and crevices, and especially when you want to go to oil this, there's a lot of different points that you're going to have to hit. This one, it's open, but there's still areas that can, trap stuff. So this probably cannot get any simpler as far as cleaning and oiling because everything's so well exposed. And it's, again, because they're not using metal liners or other material in order to keep the weight savings down. So that's, I think, about the extent of what I have to say about this knife. This, again, my favorite one. You know, I guess the last point, if I haven't said it already, you know, they call it the Mini Bugout. I don't find this to be a mini knife. My Kershaw may be a tad bit bigger, but again, this is over twice as heavy. This is a 2 3/4 inch blade. This does everything I need it to do. I relatively have large hands. I'm not a huge guy, you know, I'm tall, but you know, my hands, they're long and wide, and I can fit a whole hand on here if I have to, in multiple configurations, get my thumb up on the spine of the blade. This is not a small knife. And if I were to get the regular size one, that would poke out of, you know, kind of those small pockets that are in your shorts or jeans and not activate the full use of the clip in some scenarios. So this size is perfect for carrying, and it's going to be lighter, and it actually has less flex than its bigger brother, because, you know, this is going to be spaced out further, and that one actually has more flex to it. So I'd say the mini version is just a little bit stiffer and better to use, in my opinion. I've found no use for a bigger blade. Yes, I will use it if I have it on me, but this has done everything I've asked it to do. So yeah, that's kind of the specs and about the knife. Hope that was interesting. Maybe you learned something. You know, and to me, in the end, it's how the knife, speaks to you. What it feels like in the hand. You know, the sound of it opening, is it quality? Does it feel solid when it's locking in place? Just making it a joy to use. You know, when I see this in the morning and I'm, you know, putting it on my person, I smile every time. And it's been a year since I've had this. Every time I put it on, I smile, and I'm happy to have it. I'm proud. If I lost this tomorrow, I would buy one that afternoon. Same exact one. I'd head on Amazon, since I don't really feel like going in stores right now, and I'd order the exact same one. That's how much I love it and believe in it. But there's no complaints. They made a very good product here. It looks good, feels good, and most importantly, it does its job, but it doesn't get in the way. You don't know it's there, and I highly recommend it. So that's all I got. Again, hope this was helpful. You know, there's definitely a lot of awesome blades out there from a lot of different brands. Leathermans are great and have their purpose, but, you know, if you do a lot of things outdoors, if you're into hunting and fishing, you got a lot of house projects, you got to open something for the kids, help a neighbor, it's awesome to have a knife on you, because you will find that it comes in handy all the time for so many different applications, as I do every single day and every week. So have a great one. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you found something useful in here, and hey, maybe we'll have another EDC inspired video at some point here in the future. All right.